This is my 302 Windsor that I'm putting in the speedboat. I've already put a couple of videos on YouTube, but thought I might just give a bit of a rundown on what's going on and then start it up again. So it's out of a Ford Explorer that's got the GT40P heads on it. Originally had all the EFI gear on it, but I've taken all that off and converted it back to Dizzy and a Carby manifold, because the motor that was in the boat ended up being rotten inside, so I had to do something, and this is what I've done. So it's got a hydraulic roller cam in it, roller rockers, lifters obviously, and I've got some push rods specially made for it so I could get them the right length. I got rid of the spider setup to keep the roller lifters in line, and I've put the link bar lifters in there, so I had to machine a little bit off the top of the lifter board to clear the link between the lifters. Yeah, I've made up the zoomies for it. What I did is made a plate to bolt to the head, because the Windsors have got such a small exhaust port on them anyway, and then made a adapter plate to bolt over that. On that plate that I bolted to the head, I've got like a baffle in there, pretty much like that. Went from a round to a square, put some cuts in it, slot them in, and then the air, a lot of air goes through that, and some comes around the outside of it between that and the zoomies. When I first started up, they got hot pretty quick, so I've wrapped that insulation around there to try and stop too much heat getting on the plug leads and whatever. The Carby, I had a lot of trouble with that when I first started up. It was flooding all the time. I pulled that off about 5 times, I reckon, and eventually figured out that the fuel was coming in between the seat where it screws into the Carby. That washer wasn't sealing, so I ended up putting some hydraulic sealant on the thread and screwed it back in, and no more trouble. I've made up a soft clutch setup for it, so I adapted a Holden bell housing onto the Ford motor, made a drive shaft for it and everything, cut the spline on it for the clutch, header tank for the cooling system, overflow, made all that. I bought the overflow tank though. But yeah, it's got a heat exchanger on it, so it's got its own cooling system in it. I made up the pulleys for the front of it. Made them and thought that looks pretty good because they're nice and shiny, so I thought, oh well, I'll polish the alternator. So did that, and then thought, well, can't leave the water pump like it is, so I ended up polishing that as well. Made up all the tubes and everything for the cooling system. Bit of a high volume sump on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. Don't be deterred by the Chevy orange, because the boat's going to have a bit of orange on it as well, so I got orange seats for it and everything. But yeah, this engine stand is probably one of the better things I've made up, because you know, it's good to test the motors and that before you put them in. Like the boat's still a fair way off yet, so you know, one way of running the motor in. But I'll set up the camera up the top there. There was a truck parked outside, but I see he's taken off, so well, he had the truck going. I guess if he was asleep, he'd be awake pretty soon when this thing fires up. So I'm going to set the camera back up on the little stand here, put some earplugs in and hit the key. see it ticks over pretty well.